In a world buzzing with constant stimuli, have you ever stopped to wonder what drives our relentless pursuit of pleasure? Behind the scenes of our everyday choices, a hidden narrative plays out, one that involves our brain's chemistry and industries built on it. In this video, we uncover questions like, why do certain products or activities feel almost addictive, making you return repeatedly? How do industries like alcohol, tobacco, pornography, and fast food keep consumers hooked, and what implications does this have for our personal well-being? Welcome to an exploration of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, and its role in the modern consumer landscape. But this story goes deeper than simple biology. Today, we uncover how certain industries, from alcohol and fast food to digital media and adult entertainment sectors, have perfected the technique of exploiting our dopamine-driven desires for profit. It's a story of hidden influence, where our innate quest for happiness is transformed into a lucrative business strategy. As we dive into this intricate web of neuroscience, marketing, and consumer behavior, ask yourself how much of our pleasure-seeking is truly our own, and how much is carefully orchestrated by these industries. Are we in control, or are we being subtly manipulated? Watch as we dissect the mechanics of the toxic dopamine and its impact on our lives, choices, and well-being. The truth might just surprise you. To understand how industries tap into our brain chemistry, we first need to explore dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that plays a key role in how we experience pleasure and reward. The reward system reinforces important behaviors that are essential for survival, such as eating, drinking, sex, and social interaction. For example, the reward system ensures that you reach for food when you are hungry because you know that after eating you will feel good. In other words, it makes the activity of eating pleasurable and memorable, so you would want to do it again and again whenever you feel hungry. The brain consists of billions of neurons, or nerve cells, which communicate via chemical messages or neurotransmitters. When a neuron is sufficiently stimulated, an electrical impulse called an action potential is generated and travels down the axon to the nerve terminal. This system works well when in balance. But what happens when it's deliberately triggered over and over by external factors? In today's world, many activities and products are designed to stimulate our dopamine pathways repeatedly, often far beyond what we'd encounter naturally. This can lead to a cycle of seeking and consuming, chasing that next dopamine high. This understanding of dopamine is crucial as we explore how certain industries have harnessed its power, not just to appeal to us, but to keep us coming back for more. With our understanding of dopamine, let's examine how certain industries have perfected the technique of triggering this neurotransmitter to their advantage. Take the alcohol and tobacco industries, for instance. The pleasure of having a drink or smoking, combined with the social ambience and anticipation of relaxation, all contribute to a surge in dopamine. This makes the experience highly repeatable. I draw your attention to this clip: how drugs and dopamine work on your brain.
Think of a pleasurable activity: eating a tasty meal, winning a prize, laughing with friends, or having sex. All of these activities cause your dopamine levels to surge. Your brain uses those dopamine bursts to train itself. That's why actions that promote your survival, but drugs and alcohol, can trigger the same response. Some substances, like cannabis or heroin, actually resemble certain neurotransmitters. They're able to latch onto and activate neurons, tricking them into feeling a certain way. Other drugs, like amphetamine or cocaine, excite the brain's neurons and convince it to release more neurotransmitters than it should. With drugs, the pleasure sensations your brain gets are more intense. They last longer, sending the brain into overdrive. You see, your brain was born with a dopamine habit, and now it knows where and how to get more of it.
Similarly, the fast food industry taps into our dopamine pathways with a combination of taste, convenience, and often emotional comfort. The immediate satisfaction from consuming these foods can create a habitual craving. In the digital realm, social media platforms are a prime example. The instant gratification from likes, shares, and new content keeps us engaged, continually seeking that next dopamine hit. Listen to Simon Sinek as he explains it well.
Now let's add in technology. We know that engagement with social media and our cell phones releases a chemical called dopamine. That's why when you get a text, it feels good, right? So we've all had it where you're feeling a little bit down or feeling a bit lonely, and so you send out 10 texts to 10 friends, hi, 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 because it feels good when you get a response. It's why we count the likes, it's why we go back 10 times to see if my Instagram is growing slower, did I do something wrong? Do they not like me anymore, right? The trauma for young kids to be unfriended, right? Because we know when you get a hit of dopamine, which feels good. It's why we like it, it's why we keep going back to it. Dopamine is the exact same chemical that makes us feel good when we smoke, when we drink, and when we gamble. In other words, it's highly, highly addictive.
But one of the most striking examples of dopamine exploitation can be seen in the adult entertainment industry, particularly in online pornography. Porn industry capitalizes heavily on dopamine release. It thrives on the principle of endless novelty. With just a few clicks, it provides an ever-expanding array of content, keeping users in a loop of continuous discovery and dopamine stimulation. The impact of this can be profound. The ease of access and the privacy of consumption make it a potent source for dopamine-driven behaviors, often leading to excessive use that can impact real-life relationships and overall mental health.
Also, there is a thumb on the scale. What we're talking about is front pages of the major porn platforms, which will normalise particular content. So something like strangulation porn, this was completely unheard of a generation ago. The idea that choking your partner would be a normal part of sex. Whereas now, in the UK, more than half of women aged 18 to 25 have been choked by a partner during sex. Sometimes consensually, sometimes not consensually. The point is that it's considered normal. This is considered to be part of the sexual script. Because the thing is with human sexuality that, yes, we have some inbuilt desires, but there's also a process of sexual imprinting when you learn what is normal. You learn this from your earliest sexual experiences. And normally people would learn it from actual sexual experiences that they are having themselves. Now we're learning it from hundreds, thousands of highly stylized images of other people having sex, suggested to us by these huge porn platforms, which are not interested in protecting the well-being of their users. They are interested in making profit. So I think that porn is to sex in the way that McDonald's is to food. These are capitalist enterprises that take our natural instincts, but they strip away anything that's truly nourishing and just leave users wanting more and more. And then there are newer platforms like OnlyFans, which are all about giving content creators access to users directly without there being a middleman. I think the problem with viewing OnlyFans as being the socialist porn platform, then you're cutting out the middleman, except you're not cutting out the middleman because the middleman is the tech platform, the digital.
It's a modern challenge where digital convenience meets our most basic human instincts, creating a scenario that requires mindful navigation and self-awareness to maintain healthy habits and relationships. The loop of constant consumption is not just about the products themselves, but the way they are marketed and presented, making us crave more, often at the expense of our time, money, and even health. We might consider this a form of partial slavery to these industries. Every time a person spends money and time on their products, it means that a percentage of their time, money, and health is trapped in the industry's business model for exploitation, ensuring their continuous profit. The influence of these dopamine-provoking industries extends beyond mere consumer behavior. It has significant implications for both individual well-being and society as a whole.
And I was introduced to alcohol at the age of 13. I loved the way it made me feel because it took away all my insecurities and it made me feel funny, it made me feel pretty, and it made me feel loved. Even though I got alcohol poisoning the very next day, I was hooked. I loved this feeling. So that created my addiction because I find that when you run from your emotions, which in my case was feeling insecure and ugly and low self-esteem through not addressing those issues. Anyways, I got addicted to cocaine when I was 14 years old once I got into high school and drank and smoked pot and and then got into the adult industry. And this was the hardest thing for me to forgive myself. I Like I said, I moved back home and I live in a pretty small town, and everybody found out about this part of my life. At least it felt like everybody found out. So when I went to the gym or when I went to school, I would see people that I knew had seen my videos, and immediately the devil would grab onto that guilt and shame and replay images in my head. And it was so hard, especially because I didn't know.
On a personal level, this constant dopamine chase can lead to addictive behaviors, financial strain, and a decrease in physical and mental health. Understanding the role of dopamine in our daily decisions is crucial. It empowers us to make more conscious choices about where we invest our time and resources. Exploring the industries that capitalize on dopamine, it's important to recognize that although some governments legalize and promote sectors like cannabis and adult entertainment, legality doesn't inherently imply personal benefit. While individuals prioritize personal well-being, government motivations often revolve around economic benefits, crime reduction, and establishing a unique national identity on the global stage. Given the risks of excessive dopamine pursuit, the question arises, how can we achieve a healthier balance? First, awareness is key. Understanding how these industries manipulate our brain chemistry aids us in making more mindful choices, which is precisely what we aim to achieve with this video. Achieving a healthier balance is about creating a conscious relationship with our activities and understanding the difference between healthy enjoyment and compulsive behavior. Incorporating activities that provide a healthy dopamine release is key. This could be anything from exercise, which naturally boosts dopamine levels, to hobbies that foster creativity and relaxation. In the following clip, you'll discover how to secrete dopamine in healthy ways.
Number 1. Increase your magnesium intake. Magnesium is an essential mineral. It plays a role in more than 300 biochemical reactions in your body and is required for optimal neurotransmitter activity. Studies show that magnesium boosts dopamine levels and produces antidepressant effects. Number 2. Cut down on processed sugars. You're surely familiar with that rush you get after consuming a high amount of sugar. This is often referred to as a sugar high. It's usually temporary and is followed by a crash that leaves you feeling like crap. Similar to alcohol and recreational drugs, processed sugars briefly boost dopamine while affecting the pace at which your body normally produces it. The good news is that eliminating sugar from your diet for a week or two allows your dopamine production to return to normal. And number 3, move your body. We all know that exercise improves overall health and wellness. It particularly boosts dopamine, endorphins, and serotonin.
Finding fulfillment in real-world interactions and achievements plays a crucial role. Engaging in community work, pursuing personal goals, or simply connecting with loved ones can provide a sense of accomplishment and joy, far removed from artificial dopamine spikes. What activities bring you genuine joy and fulfillment without the need for constant stimulation? Identify these activities and make a note to include them more in your life. Additionally, setting boundaries with digital media and consumer products is beneficial. Limiting screen time, being selective about content, considering options like dark mode, and most importantly, practicing mindful spending are all effective strategies to regain control. As we navigate our way through a world saturated with dopamine triggers, remember that the power to choose lies with us. By cultivating awareness, setting healthy boundaries, and embracing activities that nourish us physically, mentally, and emotionally, we can find a balance that serves our well-being and enriches our lives. Breaking free from the toxic cycle of dopamine exploitation isn't just about saying no, it's about saying yes to a more fulfilling and balanced life. Keeping in mind that although this journey to break free can be challenging for many, it's undoubtedly rewarding will help you stay committed until you see results. Life, time, and choices are precious commodities. In a world where industries constantly seek attention and engagement, the pursuit of a balanced and meaningful existence becomes paramount. Activities that offer genuine happiness and foster authentic connections are key. While the pursuit of pleasure is a natural part of life, it is not its sole defining aspect. Finally, think about how you interact with the world around you. Seek out those dopamine highs, but do so in ways that uplift and sustain you. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and join us in this ongoing conversation about living a balanced, mindful life.